welcome to the Friendly Atheist podcast. This is Jessica, and we are launching something kind of new today. I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to launch a bonus podcast for Patreon subscribers. It's called FABLES, Friendly Atheist Bonus Listeners Entertainment, maybe service? There's definitely an S there. I've done a lot of research. So this is sort of the pilot, and just to let you guys know what it's going to look like. You only have to donate to Patreon like $1 a month to get access to these episodes. You can go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast to donate. We really appreciate your support. So I'm like really super psyched out right now. So I'm here with my best friend from college, Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
Hello.
I'm just like super stoked to be here. So my kind of conceit for this was I just really enjoy, and I feel like I've gotten good feedback on like when I record with my friend Anne or my brother, like I really like just talking to people I like and respect and think are smart and fun. She's making so
sweet.
Leslie, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself?
My name is Leslie.
Strong start.
Come from a small town in Kentucky. No, I don't know. Jess and I met at Ball State.
Mm-hmm. We went to college together.
Yes, in 2006.
Yeah.
I met you almost immediately. You were one of my first friends in college.
Yeah, well, you're 2 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
But we were in the same like jazz modern class, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we like sat down next to each other. And Leslie, I don't want to brag about you, Leslie.
This is like a first day of kindergarten story.
But I thought you were really cool because you had blue Converse and you wrote like Bright Eyes quotes on them.
That's a fact.
Were they Bright Eyes quotes?
Yeah, for sure. And they had like fun shoelaces in them.
Oh, for sure.
Like not the regular white ones.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So we're, I think, the only English major dance minors on Ball State campus. So we were like besties immediately.
Confirmed.
I think I got you drunk for the first time at my 21st birthday. You were wearing a robot sweater.
I was wearing a sweater that I had as a child, and I wore it ironically as an adult. And I thought that was a cool look for like my first college party.
So that was 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've stayed really close. We try to do quarterly meetings. Either I go to Louisville or Leslie comes up here. We do try to do. Oh, I forgot to do an itinerary this week.
We forget actually every time.
Yeah. Every
time we're like, we're going to make an agenda. Yeah. I'll send you the meeting minutes. And we never do that.
I did
just
once.
Like me at work in real life.
In real life. So yeah, Leslie's up here in visiting me in Aurora. And she picked the book that we read.
Yes.
Did I explain what this is at all? It's basically going to be a book club with me and a person who I like or respect or am friends with or whomever. And so yeah, I'm probably going to have the person pick the book and just kind of have a fun freewheel and just. I'm sorry I said that.
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's fine. And I also really feel like I need to make it clear if I imitate Leslie's accent, it's not like me making fun of her. It's just how I talk to her. It's just like my heart voice when I talk to her.
We're in a safe place.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, feelings don't get hurt around us.
No,
there's only good feelings.
So God, yeah. Do you want to like start?
Yeah. So I mean,
I loved this book.
I did too. I've been wanting to read this book for so long. It's Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay.
Oh yeah,
That's what it is.
Terrible at this so far.
No, you told me to introduce it.
Oh yeah,
so I did that.
You really nailed it.
You're welcome.
Oh my God,
good at podcasts.
We are.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read this book forever.
So it's a series of essays, wherein Roxane Gay, who is a professor, author, Scrabble enthusiast.
Yeah.
It's just a series of essays tackling feminism, race, all kind of basically those two things in general.
Yeah.
And the title is sort of a spin-off of, she says, it's sort of, and I think most of us went through this when we were kind of figuring out what feminism was to us. We sort of retracted from that because a feminist is like a shrewd, mean, man-hating, like bitch, which I am all of those things now. But when I was like 20, I was
okay
like,
with it.
I'm not that.
I'm a cool girl.
We're going to talk at length about cool girls.
Yes.
So she talks about how she she loves Pink and she loves frivolity and fluffy romance novels. And she, for a long time, felt like that made her a bad feminist and an imperfect feminist. But to align yourself as one thing, like to be a feminist doesn't mean you have to not shave your legs and not wear makeup, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So it really spoke to me in a way that, because I often feel guilty about, so my favorite takeaway from this is this woman is like brilliant and well respected, and she really lets herself be indulged by frivolity. And I feel like that's a thing I struggle with. She talks at length about reality TV and like garbage music that's like so misogynistic, but like I also really like the song Blurred Lines. Like that spoke to me a ton.
Yeah. She didn't write about it, I don't think, in this book, but there was some podcast that she was on. Apparently she is like a Fast and Furious extraordinaire, is obsessed with those movies.
Seriously?
Yes. Like is an expert. And that was one of my favorite details. That was one of the first things I found out about her. And I was like, this is hilarious.
Her. Yeah. Yeah. I think to see somebody whom I respect who allows themselves to like very dumb things.
Yeah.
And proudly embrace it, not like kind of push it off to the side. Like she says she's like constantly tweeting about
into
like
it, yeah.
And I think that's great because I don't know, I just feel like I'm always meant to be not humorless, that's not the word, but like serious and taking topics seriously and always finding like everything problematic, which I do, and it's exhausting. But like sometimes I want to watch the Fast and the Furious movies. Do I play a drinking game where anytime a woman is like a set piece, do I drink?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what she's so good about, like acknowledging how something is problematic, but not always being so like shaken to your core that it like prevents you from having any sort of fun necessarily.
Yeah, because it really is it's kind of a slippery slope that once you start. And did you read Shrill by Lindy West?
No, but I like Lindy West a whole lot.
Yeah, I would recommend that. She talks about like her sort of version of becoming a feminist is feeling like everybody she respects hates women, sort of. And obviously it's like a huge overstatement. But as soon as you start looking at like, oh, we just watched Cool Runnings today. No brag. And I was like, there literally hasn't been a single woman in this movie.
Oh
like,
my God, I didn't realize
period.
That. I think there were two sassy women who were like, I can look at his rear end all day. And that was the only line spoken by a woman.
Yeah, and like that doesn't make, and I think that's what's interesting when people talk about the Bechdel test is like to fail the Bechdel test does not necessitate that it is a bad movie.
It
just is. It's just
worth
a fact. Noting.
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah. Just let's be aware of it.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I've lost many things that I love because whether it's like on a feminist platform or like Seven is one of my favorite movies ever, and now the Kevin Spacey thing happened, and I'm like, well, I'm okay about.
Where you're like, am I allowed to watch this and enjoy it in the same way?
And I think that's a question we're all going to be kind of dealing with because that is another like slippery slope, especially like Mikey and I are watching the AFI Top 100 movies and like knowing the background of a lot of these actors, producers, directors, like at what point, like we can't just throw all of artistic history out because men are monsters whenever given the slightest chance to be. But
I think it's one of those things that like, I don't know. It's like allowing yourself to be, and this is what I'm telling myself at least, allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable and undecided about something and just kind of like being okay with like, I don't have to make a decision about like, do I indulge myself in this or do I like have to banish it and speak against, like, not everything is on opposite ends of the spectrum. It's okay to like be like, this is Leslie, complicated.
That's exactly, I think the last couple of years have gotten me really tried to make me more comfortable with gray areas. And I think this kind of black and white binary thinking is tricky because I think that I'm about to spiral into some like big like hashtag issues.
Here for it.
I think that's a problem we see with like, you know, we're dealing with the dreamers right now in immigration. And I think people see this binary of they broke the law, therefore they need to be, or they didn't do anything wrong, therefore they're absolved of everything, and see it at like I'm not going to convince somebody who thinks like all Mexicans are like murderers. I'm not going to convince that person that like maybe that's not super true, or I'm not going to convince them that like just by breaking the law means that they need to be punished, because maybe the laws are unjust, and God knows that's been true forever. But maybe I can like coax them into a gray area of like, yes, we can acknowledge somebody did something wrong without saying, therefore, you're going to be torn away from your family.
That's the only way shit ever. I think that's the thing, that when you're in that gray area feeling about whatever issue you're toiling with, you feel like you're not moving forward. You feel like you're not adding anything. You feel like because you're not making a decision about something that you're like backtracking on who, you know, the things that you stand for, and you feel like a bad feminist because you feel complicated about something.
Nice way to tie that back in.
Just
full circle.
But that's really how things get done. You know, like, I mean, whenever you aren't so polar, that sounds super wishy-washy, because I don't want to say like don't stand for anything, but it's just like if it doesn't make sense for you to go one way, it's okay to feel uncertain about something, and it's okay to feel complicated about something, and acknowledge it and be like, what do we do about it?
Well, I think also we sort of, God, I feel so pretentious right now, but I feel like we live in sort of like a hot take culture.
Yeah, make a decision about it.
Yes.
You feel the need to like look at something right now when it happens, and you have to make a decision about it and say something about it. Yeah. Or it doesn't
like
happen.
Opinions on like actors, like, do we hate Anne Hathaway or not? Like, you have, like, everybody has to like take a stance, or you know, this person said one problematic thing and now we're anti this person. And I think that's a really dangerous place to be, because nobody, given enough scrutiny, none of us is going to hold up to the ideal, and none of us is perfect. And like, God knows, I mean, how many hours have I talked into this dumb fucking microphone? Like, I'm sure I've said dumb shit, and like, if I said one untoward thing, you know, 3 years ago, should people just stop listening? Because and I don't know, and maybe if it was bad enough, like if I dropped an N-bomb, then like probably
but I think it's one of those things. And honestly, you know who and I feel like he was not even aware that he was like bestowing okay, that sounded like a weird way, like this dude helped me reach enlightenment about how I feel as like a feminist. That's not what I mean at all. But Jack, he's our friend, Jack. We were talking about something, and one of the recent, I don't know, somebody came, I can't even keep them straight, of someone who came out and did something shitty. And I was just like, I'm having a hard time like feeling like I need to have a hot take about this person and decide if I can enjoy any of these movies. And he was basically like, you know, it's complicated, and like you don't have to make a decision about it. There was something about it though. I was on a trail of like he made me like think hard. It was like in a Facebook comment where he was just like, don't worry about it, Leslie. And I was like, you know what?
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. But it's just like, I don't know. You don't have to. It's good just even acknowledging like I feel complicated about this, or I feel conflicted about this. It doesn't mean that you're a bad feminist.
I think so. I think the first person I ever had these like kind of conversations with people about was Woody Allen, like maybe 5 years ago. Not that was the first time he did anything problematic, but like 5 years ago it just sort of started coming out of like who he might have been kind of a fucking monster. And I remember Mikey made fun of me because I was like hanging out with some drunk people, and I was like, how do you know if like you can separate the art from the artist? If Woody Allen is a monster, then does that mean we can't enjoy his, like, this is sincerely a thing I have been like searching for, of what is the right way to enjoy something. And you're a Woody Allen fan.
Yeah. I mean, Annie Hall is like, and see, I still struggle with like, is Annie Hall still one of my most revered movies? Because I feel I still feel weird about it, but I'm obsessed with that movie for sure. And I've dug that's okay. I mean,
oh, thank you. I'm going to watch it because it's on the AFI.
Oh yeah. I do love it. I mean, it's just, but it's one of those things where it's like, you get into the question of, I feel like that was like early stages before things were like every single day, like, where you're like, can you separate the art from the artist? But if I watch this movie, this is where I would dig myself into a hole. okay, yeah, separating the art from the artist, but me consuming his art is me putting him up.
Is patronizing him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like you really can work yourself into a rut.
Yeah, and also, like, what's the difference between, okay, like, Woody Allen is a creator, right? He's the writer, he's the director. But, like, Kevin Spacey is an actor. Like, it's not his story. So I would argue, like, well, Woody Allen writes about the shit that he's fucked up about.
His brain. Yeah.
It's like him hitting on young women over and over again.
Yeah.
So is that different from, like, oh, well, Kevin Spacey is a talented actor, but also but I have to look at his dumb fucking face now.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I don't know.
We didn't solve it.
We didn't. Yeah. Turns out.
Sorry.
Don't have all the answers here.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about was Roxane does a whole chapter about being friends with other women. Mm-hmm. And it, like, really spoke to me in a really real way, because I think you and I, like, let's talk about A, female friendship, and B, cool girl syndrome. So
absolutely.
First, I really want to talk about friendship, because I feel like you and I have, like, the most, like, obsessive and probably troubling friendship. Like, when we're together, people don't necessarily like to be with us.
Yeah, we've ridden, like, a lot of friends out of, like, people have come and gone.
Yes.
In our circles. Only 2 ladies remain. It is a gauntlet of friendship. It is the most unapologetic friendship that I have had. Where it's just like, do you know what you're getting into? We have a nickname, Jess. Like,
Jessly.
It's like, we call it Jessly. We're like, are you okay with this?
Yeah.
Also, doesn't matter if you're okay, because it's happening.
It's happening
all around you.
And I feel like we've both found partners who tolerate us and also like each other.
Yes.
So they can't, like, we'll separate and send the boys off to do errands, and we can be like, thank you.
Just give us our space.
Do you want to tell our origin story?
Yes. Well, the waiting where we have, like, a very movie moment situation. Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah, I think I don't know we were going across the floor in dance class.
So going across the floor is, like, when you're doing a combination and everybody lines up at one end and, like, does something that brings you one end to the other. And so there's a lot of standing in line and, like, fucking around.
I'm pretty sure it was a situation where, like, it was a hard combination and we were nervous about it.
Yeah.
And we were, and I'm not saying this to bring us down a few notches, but being the English major dance minors of the entire university, we maybe took dance, like, less seriously than everyone.
And also, and I hate to say this and bring us down, maybe we were less good.
Yeah. Only slightly.
Only slightly.
We would always make a point we're like, we're not as bad as, like, there's, like, maybe 1 to 2 other people who are like with us, or maybe a little bit care even less.
We did a lot of standing in the corner and, like, marking.
Yeah. Just marking it. And we'd make jokes about how we were marking it.
And then not pay attention.
Yeah.
And then, we were really great students.
We were. You know, and honestly, I was always that way about dance. Like, I never, like, my mom still has this dream of me being, like, a dance teacher or something. Like, I don't think you understand, Mom. Me caring about dance is, like, how fun a combination was. And the instant whatever I'm doing right in that moment in dance class is not the most fun, I'm like, nah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Like, literally one time, we had this ballet teacher who passed recently, Louianne, who is just, like, the definition of, like, a sassy old gal.
Yeah.
And she used to do a thing, like, so in ballet classes, this got way off topic.
This is my favorite thing to explain to people, though, and they're like, what is this?
So in ballet classes, at the end, you kind of go to your teacher and, like, do a little curtsy and kind of grab their hands, kind of. That's what I always
do. You do your reverence where you're like,
that's the end.
Yeah.
So that's, like, doing your final curtsy of,
you're like, thank you to our imaginary audience.
Yes. And then thank you for the teacher and thank the pianist.
Yes.
And then
Yep. Everybody did a fantastic job.
Really nice work today, you guys. I almost got that triple. One time I got a triple.
I was just marking it, though.
I was just marking it. One time I hit a triple, and I told a waiter about it that night because I was so excited because I'm such a bad turner. I have no center. Far afield. But anyway, so you do a thing where you, like, kind of go, like, take the hands of your teacher and, like, do a little curtsy thing. It's very steeped in tradition.
Yeah.
And Lou would always say something nice to her. I'd be like, oh, you're really getting this. And one time she grabbed my hands and looked at me and went, oh.
Like everybody else is
like you
so
really nailed
beautiful.
that turn. Your feet look gorgeous.
Such great work today. I forgot about that. You old so-and-so.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, but anyway, finish our origin
That's
story,
right.
and then we
Okay.
can move on to like what this podcast is.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. So we were going across the floor. It was some hard combination. And Jess and I were very nervous, I think, about it or something.
We were both like new to the dance program and like intimidated.
Yeah. You know how you do the thing across the floor too, where you're like, I got to pair up with somebody who knows their shit right now.
Oh, I always have to stand behind somebody who seems to know what they're doing, who will A, draw focus, and B, I can watch them.
But when I'm the person who's in the front, it's like I took a bullet. I'm like,
You're
welcome.
fucking welcome.
Everybody is welcome. But it was not that situation. We were nervous, and I was, quote, I think I turned around to you, and I was like,
No, I was ahead of you in line.
yeah, I was like, oh, it's like that. Have you ever seen Waiting for Guffman? And Jess looked me in the eyes and said, it's the day of the show, y'all, and jetted across the floor. And I almost peed my pants because that is exactly what I was going to reference about being nervous about a performance. When Parker Posey says, it's the day of the show, y'all.
Yeah, Waiting for Guffman is a really important movie. If you haven't seen it, please run, don't walk.
PSA, run, don't walk. See Waiting for Guffman.
So anyway, back to this book that we're reading. So she has this this chapter that's about being friends with women, and it's like a outline kind of thing of like 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
So her first thing is abandon the cultural myth that all female friendships must be bitchy, toxic, or competitive. The myth is like heels and purses, pretty but designed to slow women down. And then she kind of goes on to say it's not to say women can't be bitchy or toxic, but like maybe that shouldn't be your default.
Yeah.
And I think that's, just in pop culture, that always seems to be, not always, that frequently seems to be the thing of like women are just like fucking out for each other.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just who I am, but since like junior high, like I had some like of those really petty, dumb relationships, like friendships when I was that age. But as an adult, like I don't see that and I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I cannot relate to this idea of like, oh, women like are out to get each other, because like all of my like gal friends are like really into each other and like into each other's
That's
success.
just because you surround yourself with great company, I think. Because I'm trying to, I think
No
I'd
brag.
me. You have the best friends ever, me. But I think too that like, I mean, when I have to think back to scenarios like that, and I feel like I never got to the point of like Lifetime movie level, like, or like
backstabbing.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I think back to like college where you're like clearly there's some sizing up that happens that is just like, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I've been lucky enough to so many of like the female friends that I have now, I've had them for like 15 plus years and they're amazing, beautiful people. And all we do is love each other and compliment each other and apologize for complimenting each other too much.
Yeah. There was a thread recently on BuzzFeed that was just about like the purity of female friendships and like female drunk girls and how they are with each other.
Yeah.
And it's like that feels so much more true to my life.
Yes.
And then that's not to say like everyone I've met has been great or like I've never had like a catty relationship with somebody.
But that
like,
seems true.
when I think about my relationships with women, it's just like us being like obsessed with each other and like you're beautiful and you're perfect and you're the most talented person I've
There
ever
was
met.
like a Reductress article or some headline, something like that was like a group of women get together to validate the shit out of each other.
Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what it is. It's just like every
decision you make, you're like, you do that.
Yes,
absolutely.
You're brave and smart and perfect. Do you have anything in particular you want to discuss?
Well, I like the cool girl. Like, I
did want to talk about the cool girl thing.
I thought that was awesome. I mean, because she specifically is talking about Gone Girl.
Yes. Wait, first of all, can you tell me like what you were as a cool girl? Like, what was your cool girl like vibe? Because you were like punk rock cool girl.
I was soups punk rock. No, I tried so hard. My cool girl vibe was like trying to act like I wasn't like falling asleep at a shitty punk rock show. Like, and this is the days before, like, we were in high school. I did not like underage drink at all. Like, I thought I was a badass, but I was not at all. So to be at like a shitty punk rock show in like Tell City, Indiana,
No brag.
stone cold sober,
Yeah.
and just genuinely be like to think through like how I'm posing
Oh, yeah.
at the rock show.
Did you skank at all?
I was too cool for that.
Oh,
like, I
okay.
watch people and I like nod in my head, like acknowledging them, like, cool, good on you. But like, I'm so cool of a girl that I'm just quietly observing,
Yeah.
and being so proud of these dudes who are playing just shitty music, awful.
Yeah.
And we would be like, hang out near them, like hover around them, and be like, you guys are so cool. Have you ever heard of this band though? Like, total non sequitur, like,
Yeah.
just to try to drop knowledge.
To make sure you know.
That was me being a cool girl, like, just, oh, I know this band, this band, this band. It got me absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, like to what end?
It
with
got me
any
like,
of this?
there was this guy, we called him Movie Guy, who,
I just snorted into the microphone.
we called him Movie Guy. He worked in the movie theater.
Was this high school?
This is high school, and he,
So this is high school in Owensboro, Kentucky.
yeah, and he had a crush on me. He was 18. I was 13, 14.
Gross-a-roo.
Gross. But he would like write me like love notes when I'd go to the movie theater. And I thought that was
No.
highly romantic.
Sure.
So that's all being a cool girl really
But
got
also, dude, one of your favorite movies is Say Anything, which is basically that. Like,
me. Yeah.
it's this like myth of this. All you have to do is persist, and it's everywhere. It's all the time. It's forever. It is
Yeah.
men. If they're persistent enough, they will get their prize, and that prize is
Yeah.
lady person.
Yeah.
And that, okay, I think Say Anything would be a really good example of something like, I loved Say Anything. I had a baby doll shirt that had like John Cusack holding the thing on the front, and on the back it said in like scrolly font, I gave her my heart and she gave me a pen.
I had a hoodie. Silhouette of Lloyd
I
Dobler.
remember that
And
hoodie.
it said, of all the fruitless searches. I still have that hoodie. It's a brand new hoodie, actually, which again is another problematic.
I was actually
interest
just
of
about
mine.
to
Yeah.
bring up brand new because
It's I can't talk about it anyway, so it's fine. I'll get.
Are you that emotional about it?
It really it was upsetting
Well,
to me.
having somebody you like and respect, and especially a musician, and when you're a fan of that music, you should explain what happened with Brand New.
Oh yeah, so the lead singer Jessie Lacey, who I was so obsessed with as a teenager, basically was accused of just being a super creepster, like creeping on young fans, taking full advantage of the fact that he was the lead singer of a band and he was of full consenting age, asking young fans to take gross pictures, just being gross. And when he did his apology, he was like, I have problems with sex stuff. I'm addicted to sex. It's a problem. I'm a serial cheater.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a cute thing to admit.
Yeah. So anyway,
And
it's
as
gross.
if just saying that you're that thing is like, well, I admitted it, so you can't be mad anymore, motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's just hurts my heart.
Yeah.
okay.
So I think musicians, we feel like we have, I mean, as the same as any kind of like writer or like director, like any kind of artist,
Yeah.
you feel like you know that person.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's like a personal affront to you. that,
it's
they did
really, yeah, it really sucks. I remember, no, this is going to be a boring story. I was going to tell you.
I saw you and you're like, no.
Leslie can read me like no other human being. Wait, before we keep going, first of all, I'm having so much fun. I hope people are enjoying this. I just had a moment that I was like, I forgot other people are going to listen to this because this is just like,
We're just chatting.
no, we're just chit-chatting.
Yeah.
Also, it's 1 a.m.
I was like fully in my room stage like
Yeah.
an hour ago too. I'm really proud how I bounced back.
I
to
told
life.
you you'd catch your second wind, didn't I tell you?
You did.
And aren't you second winding?
Yeah, I feel
I've-
much better.
Another bottle of wine in front of us?
Yeah, I'll
We've
dig
had a
into
great
that.
day. So Leslie came out for yesterday was the opening ceremonies of the. Okay, this is. Let me give you an example of the purity of our friendship. I feel like I'm bragging about how good friends we are. Is that a weird thing?
It's
to brag
something
about?
to brag about.
It it is. So Les lives in Louisville, and that's like 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
She says she can make it in 5.
We made it in 7, maybe 8 yesterday.
Yeah, you guys took
So-
a minute. So on the day we're recording this, so this is technically February 11th.
There we go.
So the Friday Chicagoland area had a huge blizzard. Like, schools were canceled. Everything was like shut the fuck down. My husband had been out of town on business since Tuesday. I am fun employed, so I've just been at home, and we've been planning on her coming up here for this for months and months. So I've been looking forward to this. And then all of a sudden, Mikey's supposed to come back on Friday. His flight gets delayed till Saturday. And this blizzard is happening. And our friends, Jack and Holly, who I think we're going to do an episode with.
Oh, good.
Because
That'll be so much fun.
We watched one of the Kirk Cameron movies, Fireproof. Have you watched that with them?
Yes. Jack has actively been pushing that movie on everyone in Louisville. But I haven't watched it.
You haven't?
But my mom has.
But probably not for the same reasons.
No.
Bless her
She
heart.
thought it had some good points.
Fireproof is like basically about like marriage and Christianity.
Just being a good wife.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
just like knowing your place.
Yeah.
Women are happier when they know their place.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I've been like really going stir crazy all week. Like, I haven't seen anybody, and then this blizzard is happening. I've been looking for this weekend. This blizzard is happening. My husband's another day out, so I'm like no other humans. And then I was like, fuck, there's no way Leslie and her boyfriend are gonna make the trek from Louisville into a blizzard. And so I was at the dog park, like talking to some people, and everyone's like, oh yeah, everything's canceled and whatever. And I just got so thoroughly bummed out of like, it's going to be another day of me like just being by myself in my house. I can't go anywhere because I can't spend money. And also the apocalypse is here. And so I called Leslie and was like upset. Like, what do you think? Do you think you'll still be able to come? And she's like, yeah.
I hadn't even looked at the weather.
And I almost started crying on the phone because I had like, you convinced yourself like, yeah. Okay, cool. And Mikey,
like, it's fine.
Yeah, Mikey got home at 9:00 Saturday night, and I hadn't seen him since Tuesday. So I've just been alone, bouncing around a house, like watching the OC. I think you'd like the OC, by the way.
Oh, I know I would. Don't worry. I know I would.
And just it was just like this non-hesitation. I was like, it's gonna snow a lot. You're like, how much? I was like, they're shutting everything down. You're like, it's fine.
It's fine. It's interstate. That's what I said.
You did say that a whole lot.
Yeah.
But then ironically, you ended up not taking the interstate up here.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah, that was on you guys.
Well, as we were leaving town, I was like, I have $4 in cash, so we can't do tolls.
I was about to ask you the most boring question about if you had like an iPass or whatever, but we'll just.
Of course I don't.
Leslie, get your life together.
For the quarterly meeting, no, you have to pay.
But don't you have tolls in Kentucky?
Yeah, but there's a bridge right next to it where you don't have to do the toll.
Oh my god, I'm bored listening to us.
Let's stop talking about toll bridges.
Let's talk about cool girls.
Yeah, we're cool girls.
Such cool. So my version of cool girl was so I've always been a sports fan. I have always been a Cubs fan. I go through phases. Like when I was in college, I would literally watch every single game in the summer. But I'm not like one of those like sports fans of like, I know statistics from all this time and like I know everything about everyone and I know but I really thought if I liked sports to the like fanatical extent that men of Indiana, where we went to school, tend to like sports, and they would like me much more. And also I knew they would do the quiz thing. You know the quiz thing of a woman says, okay, so literally for me, I was talking to this guy I was dating. Do you remember when I dated Adam for like 5 minutes and he ghosted?
Was he the swing dance one?
No, God, no. Oh, that was a nightmare. Anyway,
I do remember Adam.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It's okay. It'll come to me.
Couldn't be less interesting.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I just can't. Like, I can't help it.
It's okay.
It was this guy I was dating very briefly and like was super into, and he had like all these dude roommates, and I was like, I thrive with like #cool dudes.
Yeah.
And so this guy was talking to me and he asked me if I like sports. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a huge Cubs fan. Did I say I was like, no, I'm really into baseball. He was like, well, what do you think about the designated hitters league? Like he did it in a quiz of like,
pop quiz.
I just want to make sure that like,
let's see if you pass.
Which is, there's a tweet about like, it's one of my favorite tweets of all time. It's like, dudes, I wish women were into sports. Women, I like sports. Men, oh yeah, well, what's the blood type of the niece of the 1998 Colts coach?
Didn't think you'd know.
Yeah. So
You're not a real
got
fan.
you. And like that, there's gatekeeping to be sure.
Yeah.
But
honestly, exact same
mm-hmm.
fits for the stupid, shitty band dudes
Yeah.
that I tried to impress.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a dude thing.
Did you impress him, you think?
I think so. I mean, at least movie guy. And he had great judgments.
God. Ew, you didn't like go on a date with him, did you?
No, my parents were not about that.
Good for them.
Yeah. And he would text me on my Nokia phone.
Sure.
But my parents wouldn't even let me have like text messages, so I'd just see like the beginnings of it. Where it was like, hey girl, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know what it says, but no.
But I bet it's
and I was a good girl, so I was not about to push any of those boundaries.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Are you ready for the transition of your lifetime? I want to go back into the book that we're reading.
Yes.
And we're going to come back to Cool Girls because I think that's one of my like favorite sort of phenomenons.
Yeah.
But what fucking hurt my heart is Roxane Gay describes a violent rape that happened to her.
Oh my God. I was at the gym on the treadmill and just like.
It was a lot. So
yeah, when I read that, it was awful.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
And she kept using this term, good girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I related to it so hard because it really feels like, well, I'm a good girl, so this thing can't happen to me. Because we always have this mentality of like, if something bad happened to somebody, it's not that they deserved it, but what did they do?
What are they bringing to the table?
Yeah, like they really weren't. And it's the same
Yeah.
thing as like the perfect victim. Like if
Yeah.
you were murdered, like what did you do? Like digging up their past. She talked about what's his name? Hoodie.
Trayvon Martin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hoodie is all I got out. Good job, Jess. You're really nailing it.
That's okay. We realized it.
Yeah, we got it. About like immediately they were digging into this kid's past of like, well, what else did he do? And like, it's a really fucked up thing. But anyway, she kept using this refrain, but I'm a good girl, but I'm a good girl, but I was a good girl. And she uses it, kind of peppers it throughout the book, which I thought was like super effective because it's always this, because there's always morality, I think, attached to violence of really only tragically bad things in terms of like you were attacked by somebody close to you or whatever. Like that only happens if you're in a bad relationship or treated somebody poorly or and she kept using this refrain of I'm a good girl, and it just like hit my heart of because we just want to be safe walking through the world, and we take all these precautions, right, of well, I'm gonna dress a certain way, I'm gonna walk this place, I'm gonna take a cab instead of the train, I'm gonna do whatever, and if I take all of these steps, this thing won't happen to me. And so I think that has to be like, thankfully I've never been the victim of like a violent assault, but I have to think that has to be a really hard thing to be like, but I did all the things right. And I feel honestly like I feel that way with like the job market of like, well, I did all the things you told me to do. Where's my shiny job waiting for me at the end of my college career and everything? Like there's just this element of like, well, I did it. I did what you asked me to. Can I has job?
Exactly.
Was that a really current reference?
That was like that's from the internet.
The internet? Have you heard of it? There's cats
heard
there.
of it? Look it up on the internet. I hate myself. But no, that's so true though. It really is. Like, it's just I think that's the thing. And when something like that happens to you, I think that it is even more like baffling, obviously, because you're like, no, I know what I'm bringing to the table here, and it doesn't make any sense. It never makes sense. Obviously, something horrible like that is happening. It doesn't make sense,
right?
But
and just how to process that is
it was so awful. I mean, I think the saddest part, not the saddest part. I mean, it was an awful story, but her coming home and just like going to her room and just being like, Anna went to school the next day.
Oh my God!
And all the dudes told everybody. It was terrible.
It was so she was brought to this. She was dating this boy, and I don't remember how old she was. High school.
She said middle school.
Middle school,
I think.
And she was like walking through the woods with this boy she was dating, who she adored, and he brought her to this shack, which like, what?
Yeah.
Like that was bad enough.
Yeah.
And basically there was like a bunch of other boys there, and they gang raped her.
Yeah.
And then went to school and basically said that she like blew all of them and was a huge slut.
Yeah. It was just, but the way she just dismissed it, she's like, and the rest of that year, that's what I was to everybody at school.
Was just a slut.
That's it. Yeah.
It was
awful.
I just can't.
No.
It's not a thing I can fathom.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I just can't stand how this shit is never taken seriously.
Mm-mm.
Like, it really feels like anything. I don't know if this is going to be like a hot take or whatever, but doesn't it sometimes feel like anything women are going through is diminished in some way?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like like a couple times a year we hear like, oh, it turns out menstrual cramps are as painful as a heart attack. And I'm like, yeah, y'all, I've been telling you this for years. When I'm like doubled over and crying at my desk, I'm not like exaggerating. Like, I am in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Or like it just,
I think it's just I think it's just the general notion that more is expected from women, just in general. And I know that, I mean, it's like fresh in my brain because I did finish reading the last chapter of this book moments ago.
Yes.
But where she was talking about like, you know, lean in, and how obviously Sheryl Sandberg, that book is not perfect, and but what book is perfect? There's still teachable great moments in it.
Yes.
But do we ever hold that standard to other how-to businessy book, like how to make it, how to be successful in the world books that men have written, to say, well, does it account for this socioeconomic group?
Leslie, it was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks because she talks about it a few different times. She talks about Orange is the New Black, and a couple other general movies that were made that are targeted at black audiences. I can't remember the name of the one that she was excited about, and she said it was. She's like, it was fine.
Oh, Peoples.
Yeah. She went and saw it. It was a movie written and directed by a woman of color, targeted largely for black audiences, and she's like, I saw it. It was fine. Yeah. It wasn't amazing, but it also wasn't any better or worse than like all of the garbage starring everywhiteman.com. I don't know why I said that. Didn't make sense. It wasn't a good joke.
I like adding .com to things.
Yeah. It feels very 1996 cool.
Look it up. I like saying that too.
And I think that is part of the thing that really gets exhausting. And it's honestly a thing that Hammond and I have talked about, of talking like Democrats versus Republicans, where Republicans are just doing whatever the fuck they want. And I still feel like we on the left should be like, no, we're going to stick to the rules and do the right thing and be moral. And Hammond was like, why is it always us? Why do we always have to like play by the rules when they don't?
Yeah. It's just a difference in standards. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's just,
and I don't know the answer to that. Like, should we be? I don't know. And it's not to say like Democrats are blameless, but
yeah. But it's one of those things, though. I mean, especially in regards to a woman and something a woman experiences, I feel like the general reaction to it is like at least mild annoyance. Like, like, what are we gonna have to endure to get through this story? To get through the situation. I always love to think back to, I mean, my college experience, we've talked about this, riddled with just like shitty dudes. And I'm not trying to nail them to the cross, but just shitty dudes, at least mildly shitty dudes. And any point of contention that we brought to the table, anything that we tried to tell them, hey, this is something shitty that you did or your friends did. The instant knee-jerk reaction from them, it was at the very least annoyance. Not at the very least like, I believe you, I acknowledge this, but that they don't see that whenever one of their dude friends, I mean, that's not a thing that is like you have to go through these steps of like me even being okay with whatever you're about to tell me, whatever experience you have.
Well, because even when we're saying that we are uncomfortable or we've been hurt, it has to be couched in protecting the dude's feelings. Because God forbid you're like, that sucked.
Yeah, because they're like, that's an attack on me too. Yeah. All of us. Yeah.
Hashtag me too.
They started the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Jeez, one more
so
thing.
Brave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do find it really exhausting to feel like I have to. But I also think you and I are the queens of like apologizing about anything we say or do or think or feel.
Yeah.
It's just sort of our whole thing. Like we spend entire phone conversations just apologizing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
Very
I'm
good at it.
Slightly distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm in Walgreens again while I'm on the phone with you.
Why are you always in Walgreens? What are you shopping for?
I mean, I think you always call me when I'm on my period, so it's like the moons, the cycle is in line, and you just you're like
once a
your
week.
uterus glows, and you're like,
You need to talk to a gynecologist, honey. Like
I do go to a gynecologist.
I talk to you once a week. Your period should not be always.
That is okay. My period is a very regular amount. I've been on like Johnny on the spot with my period
Congrats.
for like 15 years.
Really?
So, yeah.
Mine is.
I actually talked to my gynecologist and was like, should I be like thinking of any other type of birth control? I feel like behind the times. They're like, do you really want to? And I was like, no. And they're like, then you're good.
You're fine.
It's all right.
You seem okay.
Yeah, you just happened to call me. I just also really am obsessed with this one particular Walgreens in town. I don't even live that close to it, but they're so nice. One time the pharmacist... I'm like a true old lady.
I've ever heard anybody
They're
say.
so nice. One time one of the pharmacists complimented me. I was wearing like a workout shirt. She complimented my t-shirt. She was like, oh, it's like some dumb obscure band. And I was like, I saw them when I was 15 at this music festival. And she was like, I was there too. And I was like, I will come to this Walgreens forever until the day I die.
Fan for life.
She's so sweet.
Aww.
And whenever after I got off the phone with you, was checking out the pharmacy, the lady was like, did you know that you could return this lipstick if you don't want it in 30 days, even if you've used it? And I was like, no, I didn't.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, you know my mom is on that tip. You know.
Could you show up and you're like, here you go.
Yeah, you know that my mother, if she doesn't like a thing, she will return it.
Well, I've just had so many lipsticks. You know, you have that moment where immediately after you get out of the drugstore, you put it on your car and you're like,
and
nope.
you're like, my lips disappeared.
You're like, this is a horrible idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, just little tips like that. They're the sweetest at this Walgreens.
Like one time, my mom and I, when I was in high school, my mom and I were at Costco, and you can return anything at Costco for any reason.
It's like REI.
Like REI.
It's like has holes in it, and they're like, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And a woman in front of us in line was returning flowers because they wilted too quickly, and I think my mom was like, this is my dream board. Like,
this changes
I didn't know this was an option. Yes.
Oh, I'm just not trying hard enough.
No.
Well, I still appreciate
if it's
the
in my
info.
house, it's mine forever.
Yeah, me too. And I'm too lazy to go back out again.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a jumper that I got on Amazon, like a corduroy jumper.
Leslie.
Listen, I was really into this idea. And when I say it was like a few months ago. It wasn't that long ago. Corduroy jumper. I was like, I want to wear it with cute tights and boots.
Uh-huh.
I got it, and it's like an actual box. It looked terrible on me, and I went through the process of returning it, and the distributor wrote back to me and was
God.
like, can you just like make it work?
No.
Yeah, they were like, could you just make it work, or like we can give you like a partial refund, like meet me in the middle here. And I was so lazy that I was like,
Leslie,
I have this jumper now.
that's mine. It's my jumper.
Mine. It also cost $11.
Okay, that's
So,
fair.
yeah.
Last time you were in town, we went to Target together, and you convinced me to buy a romper.
Did I?
Yes.
I'm so proud.
I returned it immediately. And
Whatever.
this is a real exchange I had with the Target return person. They said, was anything wrong? And I said, yeah, my friend was. Because I put
the girl was like, I feel you, girl.
Because I put it on. Like, I'm a busty gal. Like, I don't need that.
Honestly, I've been
business.
pushing rompers on myself for a while too, and I'm
But
not
you have
really
to take
sure.
them off to pee.
Yeah, but there's something kind of invigorating about like you're in a public restroom and you're like, I'm just naked.
It does bring me back to ballet days.
Yes,
Which is all
yeah,
off.
yeah, all off. You're just fully naked
Just
on the toilet.
naked.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You're like, and you hope for, some bathrooms like the gap is wide,
Yes.
and then they're like, you're like, somebody can see me just being fully naked,
Just
and they're
naked.
like, why?
And you're like on your phone, so you're just crunched over.
Yeah,
like
like a monster, like a golem. Yeah.
We need to talk about this.
Yeah, we
book.
do.
Can we just like what if we just had this podcast and we didn't send it to anybody?
It's like the beginning of all the podcasts you listen to where they're just catching up. That's all we're going to do.
It's like My Favorite Murder.
Yeah.
It takes them 45 minutes
And
to
I'm
get to
fast
the
forwarding. I'm like, murders,
No,
please.
I love it. I live for it. Okay. So we kind of already talked about the thing about responsibility that goes on, things that add a girl. It's a twist off. I don't want to brag.
see.
Leslie's reaching for our second bottle of wine.
Yeah.
We realistically have been drinking for many hours. We had mimosas we're on vacation.
This is vacation
Talking
for
to
sure.
the microphone.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you do your best NPR voice for me?
This is Leslie Nance. All I know to say is my name over and over again. Leslie Nance.
That's pretty good.
Coming at you from Aurora, Illinois.
Okay,
I
ready
just
for
like to
mine?
wind off my
Yeah, that was really
finger.
classy. Another volatile day on the
It's
stock
a vocal fry.
market. Do you think we should vocal fry more? Leslie, people might listen to this.
I think I do it at work on WebEx a lot. WebEx knows
Just
my vocal fry.
Vocal fry at it.
Yeah, I'm like, hello.
So,
So
okay, I actually, good segue, Jessica and Leslie, because I think that vocal fry is, you know, when you have this like landmark moment of you read an article and you're like, I'm describing like your mind being blown. Like this isn't an original thought. You know when you read a thing and it changes everything?
Yeah.
The first time I read an article that was about, so it was maybe 5 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, and like people were freaking the fuck out about vocal fry.
Yeah.
Which
I felt personally attacked by that movement. I was like, everybody needs to simmer down.
well, and it's
Most times my vocal fry is like, I haven't had a full cup of coffee and I'm tired.
Leslie took 4 hours to drink a cup of coffee today.
Like, and within that 4 hours, I'm going to talk in a vocal fry.
You're right.
Everybody can deal with
American.
It is.
And I feel like I heard about it a lot in This American Life, which is hilarious because Ira Glass is
He has
like
a ridiculous voice.
Listen, I love Ira Glass.
I do too.
I think he's getting divorced.
I heard that.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I know.
But he is like the king of vocal
Yeah,
fry.
right. He is.
But anyway, so I read this kind of article that was about vocal fry and upspeak specifically. And basically what it comes down to is the way young women talk, everybody freaks the fuck out about.
Yeah.
So literally I would say vocal fry is the literal opposite of upspeak, I guess. As both vocal fry and upspeak, I get it. Don't at me.
It's okay.
But you know what I mean? Like it's almost a compensation of like I'm gonna talk lower in my voice range instead of like up in the end.
Both ways are wrong.
Both ways are wrong because any ways young women talk is immediately demonized.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that like fucking rocked my world because I used to be like super annoyed at upspeak and realistically what I'm more annoyed at is any like vocal patterns that are repeated over and over.
Yeah.
If you end every sentence,
It grates on you. Yeah.
it does. But like I this kind of realization of like, oh, it's the way young women talk and everybody's
just like,
hates
did you know that that's
it.
annoying, that how you speak is just terrible.
It's just the worst.
Yeah.
Or like using the word like, used it in that sentence. Good job, Jess. But like, it's now ubiquitous. People don't complain about that
Yeah.
anymore.
Did you hear about the bar that bans people who quote unquote talk like Kardashians? Exactly. And I'm not even a
describe my
coding.
face.
I know.
Describe my face.
Our face is just like not having it. No, sir. That's what we're saying. It's just ridiculous. The only kind of voice that is truly really, really annoying to me, and honestly, this could go for both genders, but baby talk. That's the only one that gets on my nerves. But I think that has nothing to do with...
Sorry,
do you have hair in your mouth?
No, there's just a little wine grit in my mouth.
Oh, it's just the elements.
Tannins.
The tannins and the grape spits.
How's this new wine?
It's really good. What's it called? Dark Corner?
Dark Corner. So Mikey and I got a have you ever gotten those coupons? I was like, pay $60 and you get a case of wine. And we're like,
oh, yeah.
yeah, it's the fucking best. And Mikey's weirdly obsessed with keeping our wine rack full, which is funny because I'm weirdly obsessed with.
I remember at your all's
into my mouth.
It's a partnership. Opposites attract.
It is. And so he ordered this, and it was like whatever, $60 for a case of wine, which is 12 bottles. Mm-hmm. And it took a month to get here, and I kept calling that. Here's a thing I'm great at.
I'm just checking.
A thing I'm great at is talking to customer service representatives.
I feel like I am too, and so is my mother.
Is she?
Yeah.
See, my mom.
My mom's like, I'm buying this for a wedding that I'm going to. Saying that to like a catalog customer service person. Like
my goal generally, if I interact with a customer service person, so I worked in. Can you hear that pouring?
Yeah,
radio
loud.
audience. What's loud? Somebody commented that like they knew when I was drinking wine because I like thunk it on the table, and I was like, oh, I was trying to be really dainty about it. I worked in customer service for a long time. I was a server for a long time, and once in a while you'd go home and be like, I had the nicest person today. And I always want to be that. I want to be the person that was like so nice and pleasant that they're like, yeah, there was just like a really nice person today. Yep. Because that makes such a big difference. So anyway, that's my goal. Also, hey guys, here's a really cool like life hack. If you're nice to servers and bartenders, they give you free shit like it's going out of style.
That's true.
Like, just be nice to them and ask them about their day. And I'm not saying, and to be clear, being nice to somebody is its own reward, and like try to be a decent human. Yeah. We're all going through this dumb thing together. But also, like, being an asshole to your server is not going to get you shit.
If there's a hell, it's just going to be made up for people who are mean to servers.
Is there anything worse than that?
No, there's not.
It really, really, really irks me.
Me too. And like, as soon as I'm around somebody who's like that, I'm like, I know exactly what person you are. Yeah. And I have no interest in hanging out with you anymore.
It's just, I just don't. And the thing, I can't. Did I say any words?
The thing I get, and then you just like huffed.
I just don't get that instinct of, I'm going to come off salty from the blocks. Yeah. It just isn't. And the person who like we've both waited tables. Yeah. You were
I was good at it.
You were so good at it.
I did it at a cockroach infested restaurant, which really adds another element.
Oh, didn't you see a cockroach crawling on a baby?
I did, and all I did was I ran back into the kitchen and I was like, somebody help me. I need advice. I'm phoning a friend. And everyone in the back of the restaurant was just like, I give up. They threw up their hands and they're like, I got nothing for you. But you know what? Went back out to the table. The cockroach was gone. So
problem solved.
Problem solved itself.
Just took care of itself.
But wait, you said you called customer service for the case of wine, and you just demanded it. I'm sure.
No, I was like, you asshole.
Yeah.
But I was just like, hey, and I had emailed them like, hey, I'm trying to get this wine for this Friday. It was supposed to be delivered by Thursday. And they're like, oh, no, we're so sorry. It's going to be delivered by Monday. And I was like, whatever. Tuesday comes and goes. Nothing came. So I called them and I was just like, hey, so this is supposed to happen. It was supposed to be delivered at the end of December. And now it's like at January 18th. Yeah. And I think the thing to always remember is like, it's not this person's fault.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're getting paid $9 an hour and they have no power. So like, don't yell at that person. Yeah. But I was just like, we're just, it's not a huge deal. We're just really hoping to get it in. We wanted to get it in last week. That came and went. And he's like, oh, I'm so... And he was like, we were out of stock of one of the wines we were going to send you. I was like, we picked a variety pack.
Just pick another one.
Just put whatever you want in there. It could be 12 of the same wine. Yeah. I'd be like, cool. Yeah. Great. And he was like, okay, I'm so sorry. Can I refund your shipping for you? And I was like, yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
That's sweet. That's really nice.
But like, it's not that hard. And they always sound, I like the surprise sound of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's not your fault.
It's because call center associate, I say this having been a call center associate.
Girl, me too.
So ingrained to apologize 1,000 times that you're just used to people being like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. And you're people like, I'm sorry. Really mean.
Yeah.
How many times would you say a customer of some kind has made you cry?
Can I be real?
Mm-hmm.
What made me cry more than even customers? Bosses. My restaurant boss in the cockroach restaurant
in Muncie.
Yeah,
is that place still alive?
Absolutely not.
Oh, what's it called?
None of the restaurants I ever worked
Let's
at are
fucking
still...
name drop it. What's it called?
It's called Bella's. Represent Bella's. You know,
Hey.
everybody who worked there was the best person, except for the person who co-owned it, who just decide, you know, people just like decide like I'm not going to like you. Like everything that you, Jess, do, everything you do gets on my nerves. Like that's how I was to her, and she made me cry a lot. So I did have some customers that made me cry.
So I used to work at it no longer exists, but do you have Rosebuds in Louisville, or is it just Chicagoland?
No.
So Rosebuds are like a upscale Italian joint. I'm sorry, I burped into the microphone. I'm really sorry, you guys.
Hope they heard it.
I know. It's like we were talking today, like Olive Garden and then Carrabba's and then like Rosebud is like one step up from that.
I see.
I don't want to brag.
Bella's is 10 steps below Olive Garden.
You know, I hate to brag, but I did wear a tie and a vest.
Damn.
And for some reason, it felt really important to me to have the fattest fucking knot on my tie. And so because I was wearing a vest, the point of the tie would come down like slightly past my boobs. Just so it was just like 100% tie.
It's all tie.
It's just all tie all day. And anyway, so it was in the theater district in Chicago. So it was the fucking worst. It was just like people coming in right before they're going to the theater.
So they're like crunch for time.
Or coming in for business lunches, which was the pits. And like the Chase building was right across the street.
Yeah.
And so I was 26 probably at the time. So I was waiting tables. And then there was like 26-year-old like asshole workers for Chase who were all wearing like Chase branded garbage. Who like, it was like white dudes with aggressively gelled hair who just wanted to be nasty at me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I left there. I had a couple other jobs, and then when I was working at my latest company, my boss and I were really close friends. So we went out to dinner when he was in town from Boston. And we went there for dinner. I still knew some of the people, and I went to the bathroom and I came back and I was like, I just had flashbacks to all the times I cried in that bathroom. Just like ran in the bathroom.
You're like, ooh.
I always picked the right hand stall.
Vibes.
The immediate stall, like right next to the door, felt really important to me, and just cried. Cried.
Yeah.
And then pretended nobody could notice. My eyes go bloodshot.
Me too. My face is so splotchy. And the saddest server ever.
God, how are we adults? Let's talk about this book more. How long have we been doing this? Years?
We're doing really good.
I'm really happy.
Honestly, we've done better on topics, at least touching back into the book, than my real book club. So I say that with love, book club ladies.
When we were getting ready for this, I was like, just treat it like a regular book club. Like I want it to be a very like sincere conversation between us. And Leslie was like, all I'll say is I hate the book and never talk the rest of the time.
That's literally, I either say I hated the book and then people get their feelings hurt because I hated the book or something, or I don't read the book and I try to be like, how long can I last before I announce that I haven't read the book, and then I announce it immediately, or I finish the book like as everybody's filing in my door, and I'm like in my laundry room,
like you did literally tonight.
Yeah.
Laundry room.
Yeah.
I want to talk about her chapter on unlikable female characters.
Yeah.
Because that was something that really spoke to me in a real way. So basically, her premise was frequently female characters are called unlikable. I don't know why I thought that just served like synthesis. I literally said the words in a slightly different order than I did earlier.
It really clarified things for
Thank
me.
you. Listen, I'm here to help. I'm a professional podcaster. I make dozens of dollars a month. And so whenever she says like people say this, and I'm like, I'm people. I'm those people.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting because we're living in this sort of maybe we're a little bit past it, but in the age of like peak, like Byronic hero, like the troubled, whatever, like the Mad Men lead. What's the word I'm looking for?
Don Draper.
The Don
Flawed.
Draper.
Yeah.
There's a specific word people use to describe it, and I can't think of it because it's 1:45 in the morning.
I don't know what that word is either, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, anyway, it'll come up to me and I'll yell it. Yeah. No matter what's going on, I'll just yell it.
Just go back
Anti-hero.
To it. There we go.
Nailed it. It's also Revolution beer. What's up?
We're both English majors. We couldn't think of the word anti-hero.
No,
That's
we
okay.
could. Although, Leslie, you know I hate to brag. You know that about me. I think you might... So I was an English literature major, and I think you might have the only degree more useless than an English literature major.
I don't know. That creative writing emphasis really comes in handy.
Yeah. Where would
When
you
I'm creating like PowerPoint content for work.
Leslie works for an insurance company.
Yeah. Honestly, that's like one of the few joys that my job brings me. I have a sick obsession with like crafting a really fine PowerPoint.
Yeah.
We had to do like a strengths building thing where like everybody on my team said like, come to me to do this. And the top of my list was to do a stupid PowerPoint. And everybody was like, really? And I was like, yes.
Yes, please.
Yep.
Yes, forever.
So yeah, creative writing, it's become extremely useful.
Really?
I've learned how to like put a bunch of useless words together in different orders to fill up space.
Sure.
So yeah,
That's... You're so talented.
I am. I really am.
I'm so impressed to be friends with you.
Thank you.
But so Roxane Gay talks about this this idea of unlikable characters, and I don't know, like I love moments like that where it's just like a kind of moment of clarity of, because I definitely think that of like, oh, this character is really unlikable. I didn't like them.
Yeah.
And she talks at length about just because it's likable characters are almost always boring.
Yeah.
And B, like, if a character is dislikable, does that mean his or her story is not story is not worth hearing or worth caring about? And I think that's really interesting because I feel like we see these anti-heroes, these Byronic heroes over and over again, and we're still willing, Walter White, Don Draper, we're still willing to take the journey with them, even though they make like increasingly poor decisions.
Yeah.
I assume I've only watched like the first season of Mad Men like 4 times because I really want to like it.
No, he really turns it around.
She shook her head.
He doesn't.
You're really good at podcasting. You do a lot of facial expressions.
A lot of like I've been doing jazz hands this whole time.
Yeah, that's really Leslie's.
And gestures. No, I think that's a great point because I kind of found a bit of my own like how I treat that subject whenever she was writing about it, because I think I'm more inclined to, when I read about a female character, say whether I like them or don't, but it doesn't necessarily make me stop reading a book or like hate that character or hate the book, but I'm less inclined, like I also recognize faults in male characters, and all of it to that point absolutely makes them more interesting. I love it.
Because layers make a person more interesting.
But I think I'm just less inclined to call a male character.
Is that a cough or did you clear your throat?
It's like both.
Oh, okay.
My throat was dry. I had some junk in it. But anyway, it makes me like, I think I'm less inclined to call a male character who's flawed like I don't like him, but I'm more inclined to like call out about a girl, like a female character, I don't like him. Because
I think saying even using the word flawed is a really forgivable thing for a male character. Like he has his flaws, but we love him anyway. Whereas, whereas I would
like he's a bad person.
I would probably argue that flawed and dislikable are subtly gender specific things, because flawed kind of allows for this, like he's this whole person but he's imperfect. Yeah. Whereas unlikable, I feel like kind of is attached to women frequently and like not.
Maybe it's like us projecting, like me being like, because I do this a lot with characters, like what of my attributes are within this character, especially with female characters. And then if, like they have an unlikable attribute, whether I have it or not, I'm like, I don't like that. I want to do that. But it was one of those things where it's like I didn't super realize that I did that, but it's like, oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, we hold sort of, and I say we, I literally mean you and I. I'm not trying to like make any sweeping generalizations, but like I feel like we hold female character and really like female writers, female stories. She talks about Orange is the New Black as this sort of she feels like she should like it, and there's a lot she does like about it, but it's not perfect and it's not everything to everybody, and it doesn't maybe portray people of color in the maybe more characterish than she wishes. Like she talks about Crazy Eyes, who she admits her character does develop more down the road, but at the beginning she's just like this caricature of this crazy person who's obsessed, and also like it's impossible to ignore the fact that it's like this white woman's point of view and she's our surrogate. So that is to say that white women are the norm and we're experiencing like Latino women. What? They're so crazy.
And she said something about Orange is the New Black. It was like a quote that both Jeff and I, we were listening to it in the car and we were both like, yeah, that sums up exactly how I feel about this show.
Did you just open the book?
I'm trying to quote it. I'm trying to be very fancy with this book club. I'm trying to find the exact quote, but it was something like, the creators of that show can't commit to greatness or mediocrity.
Yes. Yeah. It basically, like, it could be either like a melodrama or a really important, like, which I use with the appropriate, like, ironic quotes, like important work of portraying women whose stories don't get told very much. And I think, so, okay, one of my greatest flaws, and I have so many, like a thing that I cannot break myself of is reading comments. It is a thing I do constantly, whether it's on my own work, which like I showed you the thing last night of somebody like lectured Hemant that I swore too much. Like, that's fucking fine. Like, yeah, whatever. But I have this like need to hear people responding to whatever. Yeah. Whether I agree with it or disagree with it. Like I think it kind of stems from I don't think people could be this bad. Please prove me right for once in your fucking life, humanity. Yeah. Sure forgot where I was going with that because I really devolved into like my own flaws.
I think I see what you're I don't know if you're tying it back to necessarily like what Roxane was trying to say about Orange is the New Black, or just, I don't know.
Oh, okay, I remember now. Thank you. Thank you for vamping a little bit. You're welcome. Because I really came back to it.
I was like, I think I see what you mean, but I was like, I don't. But I'm going to bring back up what you were talking about.
Because we're a strong female friendship. Fucking cheers.
Yep.
I love you so much. So somebody, here's what I think is fucking obnoxious is when people are like, hey, maybe we should have more people of color or women directing films, or like, you know, helming at the helm of.
I think you do.
Is helming a verb? Sure. Major TV franchises and things like that, and always immediately and like ferociously, it's maybe we shouldn't pick people based on the color of their skin or based on their, which I just aggressively put down my wine glass. I'm so sorry. I just, to allow yourself to live in that kind of bubble that like you see white dude after white dude after white dude after white dude like handling every major film franchise, every major television franchise, and somebody's like, maybe we should vary from that. And they, I think, sincerely believe that these like white dudes are the only qualified candidates, and to pick anybody else for any other reason would be aggressively like tokenizing.
Well, I think they're just like seeing everything through such like blinders of like, movies that are made today are great, some of them, that's great. But Roxane actually did a great point about publications that aren't awarding women writers with awards, or they're not publishing female writers.
I just hit my face on the microphone.
You were nodding so enthusiastically at the point that I was making. Your head just connected with the microphone. But she was saying though that like that's not an excuse of like, oh well, they're not applying, like they're not out there. If they're out there, they're not coming to us. You go to them. You have to make an effort to like change the structure of this whole deal. I think people who come with that argument, they don't see that it's a structural thing that has to change.
And they because they also think like, well, nobody is owed a movie, which I think is a fair thing. Yeah. But if you take a step back and look at the big picture of like white men are again and again given these like tiny boosts, right? So that means you're not going to have a lot of women of color who are accessible to you immediately. You have to do some work. If you care about this, and I think arguments are made all the time thoroughly that when new diverse voices are being told, they tell their stories, they activate, you know, groups of people who may have been kind of dormant before. Yeah. And it's important. Like, what is fucking wrong with telling a story from a point of view that's different than yours?
I honestly think it's laziness and not wanting to seek
Leslie,
out.
I think you're 1,000% right.
They just don't want to seek out that story. They don't want to listen to the story. It's not there already for them, and Steven Spielberg already is.
Yeah, because, like, what's easier than saying, like, cool, J.J. Abrams, like, direct this shit. Like, great. And I like J.J. Abrams. Like, it's not a dick.
That's the thing. It's not us being, like, movies that are out right now are all garbage.
Right.
But
I think time and time again, when we see movies come out that are not from, like, straight white dudes, they're so impactful because a new group of people feels like their own story is being told.
Yep.
Like, you saw Lady Bird, right?
Yes.
Okay, spoilers on Lady Bird, guys. So I loved that movie. I took the whole journey with it in a very real way because I cannot think of another movie that literally Lady Bird, the character, was about my age, within about a year of being my age.
Yeah.
So she's going through high school in the early 2000s, and I was seeing things that I was like fashion things and things she said and things she did, and she was like this drama nerd and was like trying to hook up with gay dudes, and like that was my whole jam in high school.
Of course.
And like I couldn't believe how impactful it was to feel and I'm saying this as a middle class like white woman. I'm not I'm an underrepresented group, but I'm not like as, you know, I'm in better shape than a lot of people. But to see like, oh my God, this is my story. This is like, I could relate to it. So her relationship with her mother, like, I was crying in the theater. So also, can we talk about the moment they sang Dave Matthews Band in their car to like get out their emotions?
It was perfect.
I laughed so hard I almost threw up.
It was great. It was such a good movie.
It was very good, and and I realized like how frequently I feel like we have a this is what I'll say. I feel like we have a coming of age story about middle school, high school boys to cover every year that's ever been and ever will be. Yeah. And I think realizing, okay, Lady Bird is sincerely like a story that was very close to home about who I was and what I went through, and it was incredible to see it on screen, and I was moved by it, and I cannot like, and white people are on the screen all the time, like I cannot imagine like when like a Moonlight comes out or I don't know, I just like, it must feel 1,000 times better that like, oh, we're going to tell a story about people of color.
Us, yeah.
And it speaks to me personally. And that doesn't mean like somebody who isn't, you know, Jessica, who was born in 1985 and went to high school at this time, doesn't enjoy it. But God, it's so special that it speaks to me. Like, that's, God, what the fuck is art if it doesn't move us?
Yeah, exactly.
Then what are we doing?
Yeah. I think too, and this is, I mean, I'm not making a super hard and fast point here because I haven't seen this movie, but did you hear that apparently, I need to see this movie. I've always heard of it. Real Women Have Curves.
I've never seen it.
Well, apparently Lady Bird, like it's very similar to Lady Bird.
I have
and it
heard
came
that.
out like even
years
closer
ago.
to
Was
the
it America
time.
Ferrera?
Yes. But that's a great example, though, of like a storyline where that could, you know, because it was a female writer, director, whomever. I mean, it just wasn't as widely accessible as, I mean, and I think that's a great story for Greta Gerwig now that things like that are happening. But people are even pointing out like, but this isn't the first.
But Leslie, do you think that fucking compares directly to what we were just saying of like we hold like it's a female-led movie, and so we're gonna hold it to this higher standard of like it's getting all this like acknowledgement. But we like but now,
and I think too,
like as
Lady
if
Bird
no
is a
white
great
dude
movie.
has like written like
something similar to another person.
Like,
No, I agree. I totally agree. Lady Bird is a fantastic movie. I think it's just a good example of it's a good thing that we're thinking there are these movies like this that are out there that more closely identify with the majority of the population than what's maybe always out there in the mainstream now. And they've been out there. It's just we're starting to listen more, and we're starting to like, you know, I don't know. We're starting to pay attention a little bit more. Yeah. But I love Lady Bird.
Honestly, I think 2017 was a really great year for movies.
It was.
We're both, our significant others are both movie nerds, which is why it really worked out. I think we kind of paired them up. Like, we're like, Leslie and I are like soulmates forever. So we need to find boys who can like.
Do you like how it's friends. Like it sounds like they're just like off doing something together, but they're definitely both asleep.
They're both asleep. Yeah. Separately asleep.
But they're the best of friends.
They do get along really well. It makes me super happy.
Sweet.
But I think 2017 was an incredible year for movies because he had Get Out, which. What noise did I just make?
I don't know. It's like an animal in your body.
Get Out, I loved.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Get Out, I loved. We both saw Tanya. Can we talk about Tanya Harding? Is that a weird thing to talk about? How long have we been going on? It doesn't matter. I want to talk to you for the rest of my life.
It doesn't matter.
I'm so glad we're doing. Do you think? Yeah. Okay. Do you think in like 30 years we're gonna like listen back to this?
Oh my God, we'll listen back to this and crawl into a hole and be like, my voice is the worst.
Can I tell you? I've actually finally gotten used to my voice because I had to hear it a lot.
That's good.
How are you doing?
I'm so self-absorbed that I don't know if I'll ever get over it. So.
Leslie I wear headphones so I can monitor our audio excellence. Leslie put on the headphones, talked into the mic, heard her own voice, was like, no, thank you.
No, pass on that.
Hard pass.
I don't need it. I don't need that negativity in my life. I don't need it. I just don't need it.
Okay. Well, I want to read this thing from the book.
Yep. We're talking about books.
Yeah. So this is about, so privilege is a thing I really enjoyed talking about. Mm-hmm. I have this thing that I get topics that I'm obsessed with talking about. So recently it's been like the art. Can you separate the art from the artist? Mm-hmm. It's just a thing that like I have a glass of wine. I'm like, we need to decide if Woody Allen is like.
Let's make a decision right now.
Like the four of us on our couch watching figure skating really need to get to the bottom of this. Finally.
Yeah.
But another one I think is interesting is discussions of privilege. And so she said, quote, we believe to... Can I try that again?
Do it again.
Because I literally just read no words that she wrote. I was just scatting.
You're like, we believe.
We the people. Quote, we tend to believe that the accusations of the privilege imply we have it easy, which we resent because life is hard for nearly everyone. Of course we resent these accusations. Look at white men when they're accused of having privilege. They tend to be immediately defensive, and at times understandably so. They say, it's not my fault I'm a white man, or I'm insert other condition that discounts their privilege, instead of simply accepting that in this regard, yes, they benefit from certain privileges, others do not. I think there's more to this quote, but I can't make the page on my Kindle turn. Nope.
That's great.
We'll just close it. So, one of my other aha moments I had was, so I think privilege is a really interesting thing and I think she puts it really well, that when you say you are more privileged than me, people feel like it's discounting that they have gone through hardship. Like, saying you have privilege doesn't mean your life is perfect. So the best way I have thought about it is, like, Mikey, my husband, and I have spent we've been together since almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. Aww. And we've spent most of that time pretty broke. whether for whatever reason. And I remember we were talking about it one time and talking about how like, oh, does money solve problems or does it not, and what does it mean? And what I kind of landed on was money doesn't solve all problems, but like we all have a baseline of problems, but if you're broke, you're just adding on top of that.
Yeah.
Like living with a partner is tricky, you know, marriage is tricky, running a house is tricky, and that's not to just, if you have all the money in the world, you're still going to run into hiccups. But if you have no money ever, you're just piling on shit on top of that. So if you're broke, if you're a person of color who's persecuted regularly and aggressively, and that's the thing that I always kind of cling to, is it's important, I think, to clarify, like if I talk to a white dude about like your privilege, it is not to say that you don't have any problems.
Yep.
It is not to say that your life doesn't have hardships. It certainly does, and realistically your life could be harder than mine.
Yeah.
But there are certain realms in which you enjoy an amount of privilege, and it's okay to admit that. And I think I'm going to try to turn this page again.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to keep reading because I like this next part. So, to have privilege in one or more areas does not mean you are wholly privileged. Surrendering to the acceptance of privilege is difficult, but it's really all that's expected. What I remind myself regularly is this: the acknowledgement of my privilege is not a denial of the ways that I have been and am marginalized and the ways I've suffered.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good way. I think, and maybe going back to the binary, do you think people are afraid to admit that they have something okay?
I think so. I think people who are one to say, I don't have privilege, I have hardship instead, you're good. Mm-hmm. People think of it more of like a one-to-one exchange.
Well, it's the oppression Olympics,
like I
right?
can only, yeah.
You went through this, but I went through that.
Exactly. And there's not anything outside of that, those two things, those two experiences that you're comparing, either a privilege or a hardship. Mm-hmm. But they're not taking a step back. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm the most enlightened person ever.
No, I think
but
you are.
have to look, I think I am though.
You are.
But you have to look at the whole, I mean, I just had a conversation with someone at work that was similar to this. It's like, well, you know, you had this hardship that it makes you feel XYZ, but also look at where you're at now. Like you're able to, and I don't know, it just, we can work ourselves into a hole also whenever we really go round and round with it. And I think Roxane really talks about that in a beneficial way too, where it's like you can go back and forth forever.
Yeah.
And are you making any progress? No. You just acknowledge it, make that a part of like the baseline understanding of your conversation, and then move on and try to make some sort of difference. But
yeah, isn't there like this weird specific thing that everybody needs to be the least among us?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like everybody's like, oh,
they're like, what I am. This sounds super annoying because I feel like people like to pin this on like millennials or
oh my god,
whatever, or like women, but it's just like what I'm owed. And I feel like so many groups of people are just it's easy to be like only what I am owed, but not what you are bringing to the table or what you are owed. I don't know. Like
I'm not sure I understand.
Like I think that when people, and I'm making a huge generalization of people who are typically thinking like, I don't have privilege. Okay. I am a white male, but I've never experienced white male privilege. Yeah. I feel like they're thinking these are my hardships and I'm owed something because of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're not thinking like, what does my partner across the table bring to the table, and what should I do to advocate for not just me but like everyone? You know, I'm not saying take yourself totally out of the picture. Everyone deserves fairness. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like they make thinking that through just too simplistic of like, I have this one experience.
Well, it's the binary, right? It's the black and white thinking of the world, and thinking like, if this is like, if A is true, then B is false. Yeah. And that's just not how I think the world works.
Which people who also say they don't have privilege is the exact definition of having privilege.
Because they don't. Hot takes from Leslie Nance. Here for it.
I said it.
You're gonna come at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find all of that extremely exhausting. And
She put it in a great way, though. That was just like, it wasn't like, I don't know, because I feel like people who have that mindset, they don't react well to preachiness or like being told you're wrong, even though you are wrong.
You are wrong. but you have to like walk them into it very gently.
Yeah.
But also, I get it. Like being told that you were wrong about a thing, or being told that like you are taking advantage of a thing in directly disadvantaging another party is a shitty thing to hear.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No. Yeah. Totally true. Yeah. It's just, I think she talked about it in a great way where it's just like, everyone needs to acknowledge your privilege. There are many things that
and she even said, like, so she's like a woman of color. I think she's queer. It was
she like touched on it first.
Yeah, she didn't label it, but I think she said she's queer identified. She's a fat person. Like she has all these things, but she still acknowledges that she has this privilege because she is well educated and brilliant and like has all these
supportive
things.
Family,
and
stuff like that.
And a supportive family, like things like that. It really, I find it really upsetting when people. I'm gonna go back to the conservative thing because that's my favorite thing to do is like shit all over them. It's sort of my thing. Is this unwillingness to understand context?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Right? Like, so if a kid steals, he's a bad guy and he deserves to go to jail.
Yep.
And it's not worth considering, like, well, what's his home life? Does he get meals every day? Does he feel secure in his home? Or does he feel like his only option is to do this thing? And I think that's what's honestly, this is going to be like the stand I'm taking. I think that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans, or conservatives and liberals, like however you want to place it. Is I think conservatives like to be black and white.
Yeah.
Mostly white. Am I right?
Ooh, nailed it.
I'm trying to do the Harpo Marx.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Did you?
Even though you're just waving a hand lazily next to your face.
I hit my face with the microphone again.
Yeah, you almost lost the bottle of wine,
too.
No. It's okay. It's all right.
I love you so much. I'm so glad we're doing this.
I agree with you, though. It's
like you got us back on track. Good
context. Job. Yeah, I'm just reeling us in.
You're really professional. Yeah,
like,
no,
it's like context for like people who have the black and white. This is wrong. This isn't right. It's like it's so concentrated on what exactly happened and whatever moment is being questioned.
Okay, this person came across from Mexico when they're 1.5, and now they're 40 and a doctor. And it's against the law, so it's bad. And so, like, we can talk about, like, the morality of the law, or we can talk about, like, was this a black and white thing? And are you willing to look at the context?
Yeah.
Because you're not wrong. You're not wrong when you say this person is in the United States illegally. Yes, you're correct. But if you want to take it, like, a quarter step further... well, is this person contributing to society? Is this person paying taxes? Is this person, is there a reason beyond this sort of arbitrary binary law that we're looking at?
Yeah.
And I think that is always what's going to be interesting is it's not like we've never found laws unjust before. I think right now we're really living through a whole thing with, like, marijuana that... people, I was listening to Pod Save America when I was walking my dog today. I tried to talk to Leslie about it, but she didn't know what I was talking about.
I was like, what are those words?
And there was a woman, Wanda something. I'm sorry, I'm not going to look it up. I was going to say wasn't going to. But that she was looking at statistics of, like, 80% of people who are locked up for, like, small drug offenses, like holding pot on them, are people of color. And to not understand, like, listen, we're both white people, and we both know a plenty of people who smoke pot, and very few people who have ever, like, seen any consequences for it. but the fact that like generally men of color are disproportionately seeing the quote unquote consequences of this dumb fucking law. Like, yes, they are breaking the law, but maybe we should like rethink these laws.
But what a short-sighted person sees out of that is, oh, people of color do drugs more.
I had wine in my mouth, but I would have done this. Ugh.
Yeah. But that's what they get out of statistics like that. And then that just digs into like, oh, and they are bad people.
Because here's the thing, there's so many statistics available to you that you can confirm. It's honestly, it's like, okay, are you ready for me to pull it back to Friendly Atheist podcast? It's like the fucking Bible. Mm-hmm. It's anything you want to believe, you can find something to back it up in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's
you can make it whatever you want.
You can like fucking juggle it however you need to. Like when people talk about like black and white crime or whatever, like it just makes me want to fucking murder some.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
Do we feel like we're wrapping up?
I mean, I feel like that's like a theoretical question. Like,
do you have anything else you specific? Oh, you know what? I lied. I wanted to talk about. You had a thing.
No, you go first.
No. I wrote mine down, so I'll remember it. You won't remember yours. Don't look at it.
I can't read it.
Yeah, I have garbage person handwriting.
I just wanted. I mean, I don't even know if I have any hot takes about it, but I really appreciated how she wrote about like 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight.
Okay. Yes, I'm so good. I tried to clap and I just hit them. Leslie, why did I make us record so late?
I don't know. Well, we didn't get the equipment until late.
No, that's true.
And then we had to watch The Cutting Edge, so.
Okay, guys, let me describe to you our day. Leslie and I got up. We brought Dottie to the dog park so she could meet my friends, my only friends. They are at the dog park. Came home, had mimosas with brunch.
Yep.
Leslie took a nap. A short nap.
About 5 to 10 minute nap.
5 to 10 minute nap. We watched some Olympics, and then we're like, no good events. Leslie, could you describe what events you wanted to watch? When they're flipping and
when they're where they're jumping off of things and flipping in the air. Mm-hmm. Also figure skating, specifically commentated by Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir.
Okay. So we kind of ran into the thing that all they were doing is like the biathlon, and we're like, okay, we're not here for this.
It was interesting for 2 seconds, and then we're like,
okay, I got the idea.
Yeah.
So we watched Cool Runnings.
Yep.
Dodoy. Mm-hmm. With 0 human women in that movie.
Yeah.
Also, the guy with the square head. Anyway.
Yeah, it was upsetting.
And then we watched more Olympics. We got an obscene amount of Chinese food. Mm-hmm. And then Mikey, my poor husband, finally came home after like 14 delayed flights. He was like 36 hours later than he was supposed to be home. And immediately I was like, we're watching The Cutting Edge because I think it's Mikey's favorite movie.
I did not take that assessment seriously until we watched it.
Get close to the microphone. People need to hear your wise words.
I'm so sorry. Cutting Edge. Hot takes.
First of all, Cutting Edge is a very good movie. Second of all, it's excellent when my husband is narrating it and letting you know when the good parts are coming up.
Yeah. Giving the quotes like moments before they happen.
Mm-hmm. Also, that's if you watch The Big Lebowski with him, that's basically that. He just...
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen that movie all the way through.
Really?
Spoiler.
That's good. I like it. It's fine. So that was our night. And then the Cutting Edge. Guys, watch The Cutting Edge. It's a very good movie about Olympic ice skaters. There's one thing you take away from this podcast. Watch that movie.
Yeah.
Why would people listen to this? So the movie ended, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go set up the sound the equipment. And Leslie was basically asleep on the couch.
Tired.
I insisted she was going to get a second wind, and
here I am.
Here you are. Do I
just
know
did
you?
A top knot in my hair.
But like a half top knot?
How does it look?
It's like librarian chic. You're also wearing your glasses, which I never see you in your glasses.
I wear my glasses a lot these days because my eyes are real dry.
But when I was like, okay, I'm going to set up the sound equipment, finish the book right now. Leslie's boyfriend looked at me and was like, you're recording now? I'm like, yes, I am at my prime post.
He knows my schedule. He knows the schedule I keep.
We also stayed up till 3 a.m. yesterday watching Beast Mode.
Ultimate Beast Master.
Can we watch that when we sign off?
Yes. Run, Don't Walk. Netflix. I suggest season 2. Don't mess with season 1. Season 1 takes itself a little bit too seriously. with an opener by Sylvester Stallone. He does not make another appearance.
Yeah, that was
Season 2 is way sillier, way more offensive.
Can you give like a little?
It's like
elevator
okay,
pitch?
so it is like American
What
Ninja
if
Warrior.
anybody listens to this?
I don't know. Let's just send it to Roxane Gay and be like, "This we talk about you the whole time." But Ultimate Beastmaster, I think she'd be into it. Anyway, it's like American Ninja Warrior, but their obstacle course is in it's inside of a tiger type structure, and there's
So
parts
everything
of
they
it,
go through, they're like,
the digestive tract. Yeah, it's awful, and they have commentators from all the countries that are represented, and it's always a comedian and a sports person, and antics ensue. It's just crazy.
ugh.
It's a good time waster. Like if you need to knock through like something tedious, like you need to, I don't know, have something
Like, do
stupid
your
on in the background.
taxes.
This is prime taxes entertainment. Put that shit on while you have TurboTax up.
Yeah, some spreadsheets probably.
And it'll a stupid PowerPoint, if you will, for work.
I told
Ultimate
you the
Beastmaster
story
on.
of Mikey's and my honeymoon, and when we opened all of our like cards for our wedding. Have I told you the story?
I don't know.
So Mikey and I, again, no brag, went to Lake Tahoe for our honeymoon.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Oh yeah, you went. It's really, really gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Packed with old white people. Like, and because we went there in late September.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was past summer season and not quite snowing.
Yeah.
So it was just like old white people and me and Mikey, which is like really our prime demographic. We're very charming to old white people.
Yeah.
But so one of the first nights of our this like hotel we stayed at was like fucking
I remember it had a lot of mirrors.
a lot of mirrors. Yeah. It was like not the classiest hotel. So it had the reason we picked it because Mike, are you ready to be bored? Mikey's dad is part of like a timeshare thing, and he was like, you can pick anything you want, but you couldn't. You had to pick like something that's available this week that's at this price point and whatever. So we found this place in Lake Tahoe. We wanted to do activities. We're an activities couple.
Yeah.
That's not true. Not when we're at home. We're a couch couple at home.
Yeah, I understand. I know that dynamic.
And so this room was like a studio apartment, but like there was like a 10 by 10 foot bath in the middle that took, I think, an hour to fill up fully.
Yeah.
And also that was the shower. And so you had to like stand right in the corner to take a shower. But then there's like a little living room and a little bedroom with mirrors just everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, the second night of our honeymoon, we were sitting on the couch and we're like, okay, we're going to open all the cards and like keep track of like the very generous gifts that people got us. And we had obviously booze.
Yeah.
And we decided the drinking game. My passion is thinking of drinking games. You've heard me yell.
You're good at it. You're welcome.
Leslie, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're just my soul sister. And so the drinking game was, if it said Jessica and Michael Greif, he had to drink. If it said Michael and Jessica Greif, I had to drink.
Does anybody call you Jess and Mikey?
Like when they wrote in the envelope,
yeah.
They almost always wrote our full names.
I was trying to remember what I put, and then I was like, oh, I didn't write you a card because you saw me get it out of my trunk as I was about to haphazardly write it moments before your wedding, and you were like, don't do that. And I was like, I've never loved you more.
So Leslie was obviously bridesmaid at my wedding, and like the most important thing was that I was like, don't give me a single gift. You've bought a $200 dress that you had to be cut out of. Am I correct?
That was Elena. I did have some struggles.
Why did nobody buy
I couldn't breathe in it. You were mad at us for not getting our dresses altered.
Okay. I needed to pump the brakes. What I was mad, I wasn't mad that you didn't get it altered, but
mad.
Everybody was like, "It's 3 weeks to the," and everybody was like, "I should get mine altered." I'm like, "If you're gonna
I never said those words. I always was like, challenge accepted. I can do this with safety pins, and I did.
Well, Leah, we're at my bachelorette party, which was just like us getting drunk at my friend's parents' lake. This is a podcast. People are gonna listen to this.
Yeah.
My Elena's parents' lake house in like Indiana, you know, where the cool lake houses are. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, so it was probably August, and I got married in September, and everybody. Like, Leah was like, I think my dress is too big on me. And you're like, I don't think mine fits me right. And I was like, you guys,
Yeah, I think we had a powwow after that, and we're like, guys, we don't talk about this around Jess.
But it was just the thing is, it wasn't like I wanted you to get your dress altered. It was just like, if you're gonna,
Yeah.
and
None
also,
of us were ever gonna. I love
but
you.
also understand that Leah was my maid of honor, and I officiated her wedding in 2016, and I had to drag her to go dress shopping.
I believe it.
Because she got married in June, and it was like November, and she was like, I don't know, I'll find something. I was like, no, wedding dresses you have to kind of buy in advance. So I would go to like Ralph Lauren with her on her
It's a dirty job. Somebody's got to do it.
It is.
Yeah.
I was a really good friend.
Yeah, it's good.
But literally, Lou was like, I don't think it really fits me well, but if I have really good posture all night, it will be fine.
And that's bound to happen to maintain that posture.
My
all
friend
night.
Leah, who always has good posture, that's a thing I know about her.
That's like her top attribute.
That's why I picked her.
Yeah.
God, I think we need to wrap this up. This has gone
probably.
What was the thing you want to talk about?
Just about how she wrote about 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight.
Oh my God. How did we get this far off track?
I don't know. You told a story about the drinking game you played on your honeymoon and...
Oh, because my passion is drinking games.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so talk about your experience. So you've read 50 Shades of Grey?
I absolutely have not. I've had so many people in my life tell me to read 50 Shades of Grey. And then I was telling Jess this earlier that when people were like, oh, have you read it? And I was like, no. And they would be like, you should. And I'd be like, I won't. And then they'd be like, no, you don't understand what it's about. And then I had one friend in particular tell me at length, I feel like we had an all night long conversation where she's telling me the entire, I was like, give me the rundown, the entire plot of all 3 books. And I was like, I got it. And I still will not read it. Because the thing that is...
now I know it.
Because now I know it. But the thing that is most upsetting to me... I mean, those are like one and the same. Like 50 Shades was like sprung from Twilight fan fiction.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't the, sadomasochism stuff at all that was just like, oh my goodness, this makes me feel uncomfortable. It's the fact that like, that type of relationship is not my jam. Like, obviously, controlling, crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I don't mean to sound high and mighty about it. I just hate people telling me to read this. You should read this. You definitely should read this. But, like, I know for a fact that that's going to get on my nerves. Even outside of the controlling, crazy stuff he does, I have this thing where it's, like, the type of relationship that I do not ever want to be a part of. For some reason, this is just creepy to me. Somebody who, like, surprises me with a trip. Like shows up with a helicopter.
Oh, really?
That's my favorite thing is to look forward to something, to be a part of something, to like, and I just think that's so belittling to like have somebody tidy up your life around you and be like, I made all the arrangements, I got you off work, I bought you this car, you're gonna go in this helicopter, you have no idea where you're going, and I feel like that's a first sign of somebody being a psychopath who will kill you.
But I feel like you have to acknowledge that there's a difference between like, I'm going to surprise you with this trip versus I'm going to run your life.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also don't like anybody who would surprise me with a trip. Note to self, anybody in my life.
It's not note to self if you're making
note
the note
to the world. I don't need to make a note to myself because I know this about myself. Note to everybody, if you're trying to surprise me with something major like that, no, it's just stupid.
Okay, so what if like next weekend I just like appeared in your house?
No,
You wouldn't like it?
I wouldn't.
No.
I'm just becoming more and more in my ripe old age. I just don't like surprises.
You're 27 years old.
I don't like surprises. I'm not 27. Thank you so much, though.
How old are you?
Oh my God, Jess. I'm 29.
Oh my God.
Way to go.
I forgot that I was 32. Because in my head, you were 2
Don't
years
make it
younger.
about you. You forgot how old I was. So.
God, super
Okay.
What are we going to do for your 30th?
Nothing.
Leslie.
That is, again, I'm becoming, and as I get older, you know what my favorite birthday plans? Nothing. Ordering pizza and not doing anything and not having to.
But what if I'm on the couch with you and we're collectively.
That'd be okay. I just don't like.
Thank you.
That'd be okay. The thought of people singing happy birthday, that's my nightmare. Just walking into a room full of people singing happy birthday to you is awful.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
not.
But Roxane Gay, when she was talking about I'm just bringing it back. Just tying
How many
it back
times do you
down.
think we've woken up our significant others? By we, I mean me. Yell at.
I don't know. Mikey's probably used to it at this point.
Yes.
Jeff also could sleep through a lot, so I think we're good.
Okay, bless his heart. He went, I was like, you can go downstairs and watch a movie. And he's like, I'm going to go up and read. And he like just brought his little beer with him up to our guest room. He's
I love him so much.
He's such a good guy.
So good. He would never surprise me with a helicopter, and that's what I love about him.
Here's the thing I like about Jeff. God, this is boring for anybody. I like that, like, if you're, like, when you were up taking a shower, he and I just, like, hung out.
He's the definition of somebody you don't have to worry about. Like, he is down to hang. And I wish I was that person, but I'm not.
No.
I'm like, when somebody leaves me, I'm like, they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, with my eyes, I'm like, no.
No.
I want to be that person. I think I can. I can muster up the strength to be that person.
I'm usually good if I'm like your date for a thing and you have to. So like, for example, this has never actually been a thing, but like if you're standing up in a wedding and I'm your date, like I'm the person that I'm like, I will figure shit out.
Yeah.
But not everybody is like that. But Jeff is just like, he's a good dude. Oh my God, he's going to listen to this.
Shout out to Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
Hey, future Jeff. Remember all these nice things we said about you.
I think we have to sign off. We've definitely been talking for...
Everybody should read this book. It was great.
Really good. Also, when we get up, can we just finish this bottle of wine on my couch and just keep talking?
Yeah, there's more to say.
We have so much more to say.
There's more to say.
You know what's weird is like I feel like I've confessed secrets on this podcast so frequently.
Yeah.
Like there's something about there's a really interesting article about the false intimacy of podcasts. Did you read that?
No, but I'm nodding like I could definitely see that where you're just like, this is a safe place.
It is, because it is a one-way relationship.
Yeah.
It is like the McElroys are always my go-to thing. Like I've listened to every episode of My Brother and Me. I've listened to every episode of the Adventure Zone, and I feel like I know these boys, and I don't, and they don't know me, and whatever, and it becomes this sort of messy thing. And I think being vulnerable and open is important. And flawed is super important. Yeah, because I feel like every time I hear somebody like talk about what a fucking mess their life is, honestly, it's usually you talking to me on the phone.
Yeah, but I love it.
It's great. Yeah. It's just like, okay, cool. Like, yes, I'm a mess, and yes, we're all messes, and we're just like faking it.
If anybody wants to become obsessed with me in particular from this podcast, and just like really is vibing the messiness I'm bringing to this book club podcast, the one and only time I've been on a podcast, it's fine if you want to just hold me to that standard of like you feel super close and drawn into me. I was just giving permission.
Wait, I thought you were like giving them a place to stalk you at.
No, I was just opening the door for you can do that if you want.
Do you want to like?
You can stalk me at. Oh my God! Oh, like plug.
I mean, listen, nothing matters.
I feel like all of my social media names are just my name, which is Leslie Nance, Leslie K. Nance.
Are they?
It's not inventive. I don't have a brand.
No,
everything's
but you did
boring.
It right. I am the opposite. I was like, oh, Leah used to always call me Blueberry.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, that's gonna be my thing. But Blueberry, how I usually spell it, BLUEBURY on Twitter, was taken. So I was like, it will definitely be no big deal if I spell it slightly differently from platform to platform.
Yeah.
Little did I know that I would have literally dozens of followers.
Dozens and dozens.
Hey, I don't want to brag, but I'm rounding on 900 Twitter followers.
That's a big deal.
Well, and like
there was some game that you play where it's like whoever has the most followers has to go first, and I lost that game. I feel like it was like Cards Against Humanity or like, oh, what do you mean? That's what it was, which is Cards Against Humanity. You would win. You would have to go first in that game, Jess. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we should wrap it up.
We should. We've been talking for a while, I guess.
I know. I'm just really fucking thrilled we did this. Like,
Me too.
Love
and
you
I'm also just so glad we read
much.
this book. Can I just say I've put this on the poll for my own personal book club.
I'm sorry. For the listener, she's presenting the book to me.
So you can just see the nice visual.
I wish I bought the physical book.
I got this actually from my brother's girlfriend, Kaylin.
I love her.
She's so sweet. I've told her, we bonded over Roxane Gay, and I'm like, I really want to read Bad Feminist. And she got this for me for Christmas.
Oh, that's really sweet.
She's
Is that
the
why you
best.
suggested it? Because you already owned it?
No, I mean, I suggested it because I was like, I'm about to read this anyway. So
I don't want double work.
yeah, I can't read 2 books at one time. No, but I've been trying to read this forever in my own personal book club. But our book club is really big, and it's hard to get a super, I don't know, everybody into one particular book. Anyway, I keep unabashedly adding this, like, you want to read this? Anybody? And nobody votes.
Nobody
for it.
does.
It's just me.
My book club is me and Lee and Amanda, who live in Portland now.
Aww.
So it's me drinking wine alone on my couch, talking to them, mostly about our dogs.
That sounds like fun.
It is the best. It's always like 8 hours long.
That sounds like fun.
I love it. They're going to be on this podcast. They're going to do an episode with me. We're going to try to figure out. So it's the 3 of us in the book club. So it's me, for the listeners who don't intimately know my friends. It's me, my best friend from high school, Leah, and her wife Amanda, who are like my 2 favorite humans. And besides you, I love
me.
you. I love you so much.
Besides me.
Honestly,
Yeah.
you're my heart.
I'm just joking. I love you, Leah.
She's the best.
I know.
So I officiated their wedding, so I'm really close with both of them, and they moved to Portland, which felt like a personal affront to me.
Yeah.
And so we decided we were gonna do a book club like via Skype. So we would and so it rotates through, like, we each get to pick a book, and I've always been picking like trashy romance novels, and Amanda always picks cozy mysteries. And Leah's a wild card, which, Leah, like, that's not surprising. And so they're going to be in town. They're going to be in town in March.
Oh, fun.
March or April-ish, like late March, early April. So we're going to do one of the books we're going to read.
IRL.
IRL.
Yeah.
They're going to both be talking into that very microphone.
Oh.
I'm very excited about it. So I think it will be my turn to pick a book when that comes around. So I'm kind of looking for like a queer romance novel.
Ooh.
I think that would be a good thing. Anyway,
I don't know one off the top of my head. You guys are going to pick something amazing. Your banter is going to be hilarious.
I love that so
Tune
much.
into the next episode.
Like, honestly, that's when I hear people talk about, like, oh, women are bitches. Like, all I think about is, like, you guys.
But I'm hilarious.
But, like, you guys and, like, Elena and, like, all of my friends who were just, like, so obsessed with each other succeeding and boosting each other up. It feels so foreign to me, that sort of junior high mentality of, like, us.
I think we've all just been really lucky in our relationship. And also, that's just a broad stroke that everybody's painting about women. So
yeah, and I think we're lucky, and I think also we make choices about who we want to keep in our lives and who we don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You're just, like, my person I want to keep in my life forever.
Oh, samesies.
Samesies.
I love it.
Okay, I think this was, what time is it? It is 2:30 a.m.
Ooh.
Sorry, adulthood. We're nailing this.
If we think of any other, like, really important thoughts, I'll add it in a comment thread.
Or I can just plug this shit back in and be like, guys.
Can I leave a really long voicemail?
Yes, please.
And you can just add it to this podcast.
We didn't even talk about Tanya Harding.
We didn't.
Which we've talked about at length today.
Yeah, that's okay. Another time. I probably need some time to collect my thoughts. I need to rewatch the 30 for 30 before that happens.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so guys, this is probably, I don't know, this might have been dumb, but I just love hanging out with
This is fun for me.
Yeah, really, that's all that matters to me in the end.
It was fun.
That it's fun. You guys can follow me on Twitter, Blueberry, BLUEBURIE. Email us at friendlyatheistpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to hear more of this rambling nonsense, we'll probably do about one a month for our donors. So you can go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast, donate $1 a month, and you'll get access to a few extra episodes. And God, I don't know. Thank you for if you've made it to this point, I guess.
Congrats.
You're very brave.
Yeah.
Thank you for kind of indulging me in this sort of thing I wanted to try, because I think highly of the opinions of my friends, and I want to, get their voices heard. I think they're great and interesting and funny.
Aww.
And this is just a thing I've been looking forward to for a long time, and I had a lot of fun. I hope it was entertaining. And if not, like, don't come at me. I don't care.
If not, just start watching Ultimate Beastmaster on Netflix. And you're good.
Okay. That's gonna do it. Thank you so much. We'll be back with our kind of normal programming next week. You can hopefully find these on whatever feed we set up for Fables. And thank you. And Leslie, any plugs you want to make?
Yes.
Okay, good.
As I said, I am on social media for just pure social media purposes, no promoting whatsoever.
Yeah.
But Leslie K. Nance on Instagram. I also have a live journal out there that's floating around from my preteen days.
Oh, do you have that address? Or?
I feel like my name, honestly, it's hard for me to remember it because I had so many like AIM names and live journal names.
Oh yeah, your AIM name when I knew you in college was definitely like Bright Eyes.
It was Burst X Bright. So on AIM is Burst X Bright, the now defunct AIM.
Oh, look at it, it's Dottie. She's been asleep this whole time.
So yeah, you can find me. There's a MySpace out there too that's just in the world.
Yeah.
Why did I just tell people to look at these
things?
It's
hard to say. It's very late. But honestly, if you just like look at my Twitter or Facebook feed, it's just last night. So one last anecdote, and then I'll let you guys get on with your fucking lives. So I had this big plan to have. I've talked about it before. I like to do Olympics parties because I love the Olympics. I know they're problematic and corrupt, but I fucking love them. And so Leslie came up for it, and there was supposed to be like 10 of us, like a pretty small party. And then Leslie called me a couple weeks ago and was like, can there be a costume element to this party? And I was like, yes, of course. And then the blizzard happened, and everybody kept bailing out. And so it was, and Mikey got stuck in California. And so it was literally me and Leslie's boyfriend, Jeff, and Leslie and I were in head-to-toe costume, makeup, hair.
Very specific themes.
Very specific things. Mine was 2002, and God, I hate to brag. It's a through line about me. I nailed that makeup look.
That's true.
It was silver eyeshadow. It was eyeliner all around my eyes.
Yep.
It was...
Yep.
blush. It was a nude shiny lip.
Yeah.
And Leslie fucking knocked it out of the park with her Tanya Harding. It was some big bangs. It was a strong blush.
It was a strong blush. It was a dress that I turned into an ice skating outfit that had shoulder pads in it.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
So I guess really if I had to sum up our relationship, it would be you and I took an hour and a half to get ready, came downstairs in my house, and just sat down and watched the Olympics party. And we're just fucking happy to be there.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. We just sat on the couch in our costumes.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I took my jacket. I was doing like...
We changed into sweats shortly thereafter.
Yeah. I was doing like an opening ceremony because I bought an authentic 2002 beret.
Yep.
That came like... 6 o'clock on Friday when I needed it because it was an emergency.
Yeah.
So I was wearing like a blue blazer that was too small on me, so I couldn't move my arms, and I definitely couldn't close it. My boobs were like, no, we need to breathe.
You still looked like you could have been in the opening ceremony in 2002.
So much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Anyway, Leslie, I love you with my whole heart.
I love you too. This has been so much fun.
It is so much fun. Aren't you glad I made you stay awake for another 3 hours?
Yes. I'm also glad that you made me finish this book. Although, I mean, it was burned in the midnight oil at one point.
Yeah.
But
you super worried. She listened to the audiobook on the drive down with her boyfriend.
Yeah, we just sat in silence because it was so good.
It was very good. Also, I downloaded it yesterday not yesterday, but the day before I was supposed to have credit on audiobook because I thought I was gonna finish a book prior to that. So I listened to the whole thing on audiobook at 1.5 speed, and it was fucking stressful. And hey, monsters who are listening to this podcast at 1.5 speed, what?
No.
What and why?
I think they just maybe you all just want to hear noises come at you fast.
Maybe, and I think there are people who listen to so many podcasts, they just want to burn through them.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I love
like,
podcasts.
I rewind podcasts.
Yes.
Like, I'm loading the dishwasher and something was too loud. I'm like, hold on a second.
Yes, I'm the same way. Or if, like, I wasn't paying attention right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing the good pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've told all of our things.
That's it. That's all we got. This has been fun. I love you too.
Thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, good hands.
I know.
Any words of wisdom you want to leave with?
No, if I could leave with any word of wisdom, it's not a word as much as it's a description of a hand motion. And it's like, my feelings right now are the Olympic coach who couldn't do heart hands. And she's just like gleefully clapping her fingertips together. And that's the image that I want to leave you all with. Someone who wants to put her love into emotion with her hands in the form of heart hands, doesn't understand heart hands, and is instead just silently patting her fingertips together and smiling into the camera. That's all I got.
Thanks, guys.